Every time for aye Nkasa TV, Miss Nidim send no face that whatever Nkasa TV so meso so versus cover me now wa shato other platform no ma comment or comment section as a more emphasis to say will be notification ben so man simbi and bebro Nkasa TV no why first person na wenya and semi be say do hu ne akoso e wo maga na any we say afana me person meso anda other for come when yin nim say next year mo any way MPP ni NDC they were because was a parties no edoso yo CPP yo PPP yo HS parties no edoso nso MPP ni NDC ene de bia na yeti omodin na ensama ba ku bi HS ha beto ya ponso na ebisanfo esweni ensese ya kacho sene emunsamo etie no mempese me we so time yen na enim ensama ya koso efa yen na former president mahama ho yen na ye vice president ho election ni mo ayiro pa 7 December ye ko akwato aba wan na wo beto abanama no dio ba ko bi abeto ye konso kan ho ni nkoti emu nsam ni wia asanso aba abedu ho enkomo nsam bebre eka ho medemase
General Godfrey Yabadame versus the state wey appeals document a Supreme Court acknowledging receipt of it. A free the office of the Attorney General. Appeals document case bi. This is the appeals document on the case involving Dr. Kaysil Atoforsen and businessman Richard Gyakye. Now, on the 30th of July 2024, and at the Court of Appeal, it delivered a 2-1 split decision in favor of Minority Leader, former Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. Kaysil Atoforsen, and businessman Richard Gyakye, equity of no wrongdoing in the 2.37 million euro ambulance case. Nipa imienu file a case of no submission. In that ambulance case, High Court Botugui established a prima facie case. The case no my Dr. Kaysil Atoforsen quite close to the case. Ni begina Richard Gyakye. But now Omadi can file an appeal. The Court of Appeal. So still submission of no case in the appeals court to sign review musan so mu boni bi o maye ense so mu gina court na yetoto to omano eno na Court of Appeal no court trans judges miensa court trans emu mienu agitu mu se eye no kre omo wiwe mu nyina di adanse se submission of no case ni e wo se gina na high court no ye mfonso enti Dr. Kaysil Atoforsen and Richard Gyakye inform hunkodi. The Attorney General Emma Ghana for nyina say case this is not the end of it. Obeko appeal. And appeal na okono. He is moving straight to the Supreme Court. No the assembly ko down wo. Na wa kire adekodientia ensese the acquittal of Kaysil Atoforsen and Richard Gyakye ensese a hold the test of time because ruling no awon nso akenkan bi no enfunso bebrebe ewo ho na said the beya obeti case na see making kind the appeal document dia kire but said the beya obehunu said the case ni si ko na si ba no ntino me say to me boase na ma summarize the entire decision of the Court of Appeal ye 2-1 the obia kan ye ntia ne omu gina so e rule say submission of no case no enyina na Dr. Kaysil Atoforsen and Richard Gyakye emfa no nkodi any statement Attorney General and so edia share ne appeals document mo no so kire say Supreme Court so hwe so na sa appeals court ruling no ono so yen set no aside say the bia be hu say the case no esi airport now judge for me and san omo transe e wo the appeal case no so no 1 Justice Kwekuti Akabuafo 2 Justice Philip Bright Mensah and 3 Justice Alex Poku Echampo. These were the 3 appeals court judges. Omo a rule on the submission of no case and the possible and answer the acquittal of Dr. Kaysil Atoforsen and Richard Gyakye. Judge ni awodi kan ya Justice Kwaku T Akabuafo. Ninsem na o kan ni nyina na mabon tofa no say based on my analysis and in fidelity to the law, I am of the opinion that the appeals filed by both the first and third appellants should succeed. In the result, I would allow the appeals and the ruling of the trial court dated March 30th, 2023, calling on the first appellant and the third appellant to open their defense in respect of the charges in count 1 and count 5, hereby set aside. Also, the call on the third appellant to open his defense in respect of the charge in count 3, set aside. In their place, an order upholding the submission of no keys entered for both the first and third appellant in respect of those 3 counts in the charge sheet is issued. Consequently, both appellants are hereby acquitted and discharged. Reasons when Justice Philip Bright now, they both made, or no, and Justice Philip Bright Mensah both made some conclusion, including the fact that the prosecution, which is the Attorney General, did not establish a prima facie case against Atuforsen and Richie Japa, and therefore the High Court erred by upholding the argument of the state, according to Justice Kwakuti Akabuafo, Justice Philip Bright Mensah, the Attorney General, and to me, I established a prima facie case. They rejected the case of the Attorney General that Atuforsen issued the letters of credit without the authorization of the then Finance Minister, Sir Tekpe, noting that evidence adduced by confessions from both Atuforsen and Sir Tekpe indicate that his boss, Sir Tekpe, was very much aware of Atuforsen's actions, and that he, Sir Tekpe, gave Atuforsen the permission to issue those letters of credit. And the judge for me, the other kind say Attorney General, say Atuforsen issued those letters of credit without authorization, according to Judge Simienu, and yes, sanity. According to Amoka Sane say, Atuforsen no anka said the dance or court to say, and then the 2 soon or the sign. Sansuna said, Tekpeyana or your finance minister, or no so Atuforsen friend as a witness, or no so be the dance or court to say, or no, and the man, Dr. Casey Atuforsen, to me, say on issue those letters of credit. And until on J, you will say Tekpeyana no 2 munu precope. So you cannot come to court and say that Atuforsen acted without authorization. This is according to the 2 judges. Ebi almost say, to succeed on the charge that the first accused acted without cause and authorization, the best evidence to establish it was for the prosecution to have invited the substantive minister, Honorable Sir Tekpe. Having regard to the evidence, it was done on his blind side. We are of the considered opinion that Sir Tekpe was a material witness whose evidence would have decided the case one way or the other. Failure by the prosecution to invite him to testify that he did not authorize forcing was fatal to the case of the prosecution. For the law is well settled that if there is a vital point in issue and there is one witness whose evidence would settle it one way or the other, that witness is a material witness that ought to be called to offer evidence. There is that evidence on record in our present case that in the course of investigations into the matter, Honorable Sir Tekpe is said to have volunteered a statement to investigator, prosecution witness 5. In this case, that seems to suggest that the request for the establishment of the LCs was done on behalf of the Ministry of Finance. For purposes of clarity, we reproduce excerpts of the statement, that is Exhibit 5, upon receipt of the Attorney General's opinion, Ministry of Finance proceeded to establish the LC. The letter noted that this was a valid contract. By this voluntary statement to the investigator, it means that Mr. Tekpe was very much aware of the steps the first accused took in requesting the establishment of the LC to avert the imminent action against the government of Ghana for breach of contract. And this advice was given by the Office of the Attorney General then. Now, there is no iota of evidence on record to show that if indeed the letters the first accused wrote were done on his blind side, Mr. Tekpe repudiated the same or he queried the first accused for what he did. It cannot be lost on this court that it is the